It all started with a kidnapping I never saw coming. Diego, the man I loved, was watching the sunrise with his new lover when he made a call to my kidnappers. His voice was casual, almost bored. He told them to keep me tied up, that there was no rush to rescue me. Let her learn her lesson, he said. Stop bothering me. It felt like a cold slap to the face, but I had no choice but to survive. Terrified and desperate, I did what I had to do. I unwrapped my arms from around myself and reached for the gang leader instead. I begged him, trembling, promising I'd behave if only he wouldn't kill me. My words were barely above a whisper, but they bought me time. Later, Diego finally decided to come for me. But when he spoke to the gang leader over the phone, his tone wasn't one of urgency or concern. It was indifferent, even cruel. The gang leader chuckled as he held my unconscious body in his arms, remarking how exhausted I was, how I might not even have the strength to leave with Diego if he tried. Chapter 1 began with the roar of the tide echoing through a dilapidated warehouse. Diego's voice came through a speaker, lazy and tinged with the relaxed indifference of someone tipsy. He called me by name, accusing me of drama, of orchestrating everything just to get his attention. Yesterday, he claimed, I'd manipulated his mother into forcing him into a forced engagement. And now this. If I wanted to die, he said, go ahead, but don't interrupt his date. Tears streamed down my face, soaking the ropes binding my hands and feet. I shook my head frantically, trying to explain that none of it was true. I didn't know why his mother had gone to the media. I didn't plan any of this. I begged him to believe me, to come save me just this once. He scoffed. Save me. He offered 50 million, coldly stating the amount like it was nothing. When the kidnappers responded with instructions for the drop-off, Diego cut them off. Forget the girl, he said. Keep her. No need to hurry. His voice carried unmistakable disdain. Let her learn some manners. I'm glad she'll stop pestering me. He even offered to pay them for keeping me, calling it compensation for training me. The kidnappers exchanged skeptical glances. Diego laughed again, his tone laced with cruelty. If you dare hurt her, I dare pay you. My tears overflowed. I closed my eyes, crushed by despair. Diego, I thought I never knew you hated me this much. Still, I refused to give up. I cried out to him, pleading again. I really was kidnapped. I didn't need training. I just needed him to save me. I promised I'd never bother him again. But then a bright, cheerful voice rang through the receiver. It was the girl he was with, giggling joyfully. The sound of their kiss echoed on my end of the line, vivid and intimate. I gave up struggling. I sat on the cold floor, staring at the ring on my finger, the only one he ever gave me, and laughed bitterly. So promises made in youth really don't mean anything. The boy who swore at 16 that he'd marry me and protect me for life. How had he changed so much? I whispered an apology. I'm sorry, Diego. It's my fault, for loving you unconditionally all these years. Sorry. I won't do it anymore. Never again. Then the call ended abruptly. Silence filled the empty warehouse. The three kidnappers looked at each other, confused. One of them, Sam, spat in annoyance. Who cares what Diego meant, he said. All they wanted was the money. As long as they got some video of me, Diego would pay up. He pulled out a handkerchief and suddenly pressed it over my nose. A strange, sweet scent rushed into my nostrils, making my head spin. My shirt tore as he grabbed me roughly. Cut the crap, he growled. Let's play with her. But another hesitated. They weren't supposed to do this. Not yet. Not unless someone on the inside found out. Sam cursed, dismissing the fear. He's just putting on a show, he said. New blood, fresh power, that's all it is. He yanked a cigarette from his mouth. And if we do get exposed, we just hand her over to him. His methods are way more advanced than ours. Just then the warehouse door creaked open. A tall man stepped in, dressed in a long black coat, flanked by burly bodyguards. His pale eyes swept the room, icy amusement in his voice. Then how about I let you experience my methods today? The kidnappers froze, then dropped to their knees in unison. Sam quickly pointed at me. We found this girl for you. Real spicy. You'll like her. We already drugged her. She's ready to go. The man's brow creased slightly. His gaze shifted to me, dark and unreadable. Even under the effects of the drug, a shiver ran down my spine. He slowly walked over, crouched down in front of me, and pulled out a folding knife. It might hurt, he said. Bear with it. I'm sending you away now. Please don't kill me, I begged, clutching at him desperately. I'll find a way to pay you. I really don't want to die in the next 2 years. I'm begging you. His eyes lingered on my hands, gripping his coat. What's wrong with dying in the next 2 years? He asked curiously. Caught off guard, I mumbled something about reincarnation. How if I died now? I might be reborn into one of those old-fashioned families desperate for children. I hadn't lived enough yet. It wasn't fair. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he seemed amused. But the heat from the drug was rising, threatening to consume me. Fear of death and violation warred in my mind. I leaned forward and kissed him gently on the lips. I'll obey, I whispered. Whatever you want to do to me. It's okay. The warehouse fell silent. His eyes darkened. He caught me by the neck and pushed me away slightly. I never planned to kill you, he said quietly. You still have time to regret this. I can find another man for you. But if you choose me, there's no turning back. I shook my head. I choose you, I said. I won't regret it. At least let it be with someone good-looking. He kissed me fiercely. Later, in a hotel bathroom, the shower pounded like rain. Steam filled the air as he pinned my arms above my head, pressing me against the wet tiles. He toyed with the ring on my finger. Already taken, he murmured, smirking. And still daring to seduce me. Gasped weakly. Not taken the ring. I don't want it anymore. He chuckled lowly. Say my name. Lazaro, I whispered. Chapter 4 opened with Diego lounging on a beach chair, a woman draped across his chest. She pouted when he ignored her kiss attempt. His eyes fixed on his silent phone. He muttered Katerina's name under his breath, hoping she'd call again. Just one more time, and he'd believe her. Dominic, his longtime friend, sighed. You've checked your phone 20 times in 4 hours, he said. If you're that worried, just go see her. He reminded Diego of the promise he made years ago, the one that lit my heart on fire. But Diego had grown cold. He laughed bitterly. Regret. Not a chance, he said. Tying myself to one person for life. Boring as hell. I'd be glad if she finally left. Dominic muttered under his breath. Self-sabotaging jerk. Suddenly, Diego returned, picking up his phone. Rang. His assistant said someone had sent him a package. From Katerina. It's a ring, the assistant continued. Looks like the one she always wore. Diego scoffed, his eyes flashing with disdain. For a second he felt like the biggest fool for worrying about me at all. I didn't find out I'd been ransomed until the next morning. Lazaro was already up, standing by the bed with his usual calm, unhurried manner as he slowly fastened the cufflinks of his crisp white shirt. He looked like a man who had everything under control, even me. Without a word, he handed me a fully charged phone. It was returned last night, he said casually. Already fixed. Then he added, almost offhandedly, you fell asleep at midnight, so I answered a call from your ex on your behalf. And got you 50 million in pocket money. My pupils widened. I stared at him blankly before taking the phone. When I saw over 100 missed calls on the screen, all from Diego, my brain short-circuited. My heart thudded heavily in my chest. Lazaro clearly saw the number too. He raised an eyebrow, amused. Maybe I'm just good at talking, he smirked. He seemed unsatisfied. Like he wanted more. I blinked at him, completely lost. This is what you call unsatisfied?" I asked, gesturing to the ridiculous amount of missed calls. Lazaro bent down to pick up his suit jacket, draping it casually over one arm. The crisp shirt and tailored slacks accentuated his broad shoulders and narrow waist. Just the sight made my cheeks flush. Memories of the past few indulgent days instantly flooded my mind. Noticing the look on my face, he smirked again. He leaned down and placed a gentle kiss on my forehead. "Easy, sweetheart," he murmured. "Don't tease me. Otherwise, you won't be able to walk later." My face turned scarlet. He gently ruffled my hair, then raised a brow lightly. "Tell your ex I said hi." Ah, classic mob boss energy. Gracious. Almost. Then he added with a quiet, bone-chilling warning that made my stomach twist. "If you two dare rekindle anything," his voice dropped lower, colder, "I'll burn you both and scatter the ashes." I didn't say anything. Those 3 kidnappers may have been taken care of, but they were still under Lazaro's command. If things got complicated, it could be a problem. So he didn't escort me. I took a cab back on my own. But I didn't go home. Instead, I went to see Diego's mom first. Given my parents' jobs, long-term research in isolated signal-less mountain labs, I'd basically grown up under Diego's mom's care, following Diego around since we were kids. She was more than just family to me. She was the only mother figure I really knew. "Katerina, thank God you're safe now, you're home." Diego's mother clutched my hand, her eyes red with guilt and worry. Diego sat on the sofa opposite us, uncharacteristically silent. From the moment I walked in, his eyes never left me. Dark and bloodshot. His stare carried a deep, unsettling heaviness. His mother called out to him twice. He didn't respond. She gave up, wiping her tears and turning back to me. "Katerina, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I didn't think it through. I just wanted to pressure that ungrateful boy to marry you. I never thought it would get you targeted by kidnappers. Thank God they only wanted money. If anything worse had happened to you, how could I ever face your parents?" Before she could finish, there was a sudden bang. The sofa rattled with a thud. Diego, silent until now, suddenly shot up like something had snapped inside him, grabbing my wrist without a word. He dragged me upstairs. His hand was freezing cold like ice. I struggled but couldn't break free. "Diego, let go." He ignored everyone's startled cries and pulled me straight to a guest room on the 2nd floor. Then he shoved me into the bathroom and locked the door behind us. His voice was cold, but his fingers were trembling. "Shower. What the hell is wrong with you?" I asked, totally thrown off. I shoved him away, heading for the door. I was clean. What was there to wash? But Diego yanked me back. His eyes, wild, furious, like he was seconds away from snapping. "Where is he?" Froze. "Who?" Veins bulged at his neck. Even saying the name seemed to enrage him further. "The bastard who answered your phone the other night." I almost laughed. Taking advantage of his brief distraction, I pulled free. "Have you ever considered?" I started, voice steady despite the storm in the room. "That maybe he wasn't a kidnapper. Maybe he saved me." Diego let out a bitter, almost deranged laugh. His voice trembled with rage. "Yeah, saved you by taking you to bed. Was that part of the rescue process too?" Honestly, I had no idea what he was so furious about. "Is it that hard to figure out?" Scoff. "I was kidnapped, not on a vacation. I should be grateful I wasn't tortured to death. Thank God Lazaro was the one who showed up. Thank God he came. Thank God he wanted me." Diego went completely still. It took him a moment to process what I was saying, then the meaning hit him like a punch to the gut. His entire expression crumpled. The rage cracked, giving way to confusion and disbelief. I didn't think it was real," he stammered. I could see the wheels turning behind his eyes, trying to make excuses for himself. "I thought you were acting. That you hired them to force me into marriage. If I'd known." I cut him off with a bitter laugh. That night replayed in my head again, not as a nightmare this time, but as a cold, hard lesson. You didn't know. Echoed softly. My voice wasn't angry anymore. Just tired. Hello. You didn't know when you told them to keep me tied up? When you said I needed training? A kidnapping that could have ended with a simple wire transfer turned into a lesson I'll never forget, because of one sentence from you. If I hadn't been rescued, my throat tightened. I probably would have been passed around, filmed, humiliated, over and over. I looked at him, really looked at him. Congratulations, Diego. I've learned my lesson. I won't ever cling to you again. Diego froze. The fire in his eyes seemed to die out in an instant, replaced by something dull and gray, like defeat. His jaw tensed. Muscles along his cheek twitched, like he was grinding his teeth. After a long silence, he finally forced the words out, almost like he was convincing himself as much as me. Forget it, Katerina. Forget the kidnapping. Forget that man. Forget whatever happened between you two. He stopped abruptly. His lips trembled slightly, but whatever else he meant to say stayed locked inside. He took a deep breath, turned his face away, and softened his voice. Let's just pretend none of it ever happened. If you still want to marry me, fine. Everything else, status, comfort, lifestyle, I can give you. But don't expect love. Or loyalty. For a second, I actually thought I was hallucinating. Did Diego just say something human? Had he forgotten? He was the one who came after me first. He confessed. He proposed. At 16, not 6. And now, grown-up Diego brushed those promises aside like they were nothing. Never once stopping to think what someone like me, who'd fallen so deeply, was supposed to do with a heart already handed over. It was like being a stray dog, taken in, given warmth and a name, only to be abandoned later, left cold, confused and crying. So in the end I became that pathetic creature, chasing after my old master with my tail between my legs, desperate for scraps of the warmth I once knew. Sometimes, I wondered, wouldn't it have been better if he'd never picked me up in the first place? Let's not, I said quietly. The anger, the sorrow, the humiliation, it all churned together inside me. But in the end, only quiet resignation remained. I lowered my gaze and smiled, calm and composed. Don't force yourself. I've let go. I won't love you or bother you anymore. So really, there's no need for you to make such a big sacrifice. It's all in the past. You can go live your carefree life now. I meant every word. But somehow, that calmness seemed to irritate Diego even more. His expression flickered with something like panic, then shifted into sarcasm and frustration. Well, aren't you saying all the right things? Not clinging to me, you believe that yourself. You think you can actually do that? If not, don't bother pretending. I never asked you to disappear from my life. I just said I couldn't give you love. That doesn't mean My eyes landed on the base of my ring finger, where there used to be a ring. It had only been 3 days since I took it off. But even the faint mark was already fading. Just like the hope I'd stubbornly held onto, the refusal to let go, the endless waiting. Abandoning it all really only takes a single moment. I can, I said softly. Diego's eyes narrowed sharply. He stared at me for a few long seconds. Then, as if convinced I was bluffing and would come crawling back soon, he gave a faint smirk. You'd better. I have to, I replied. And despite myself I smiled. Lazaro's face suddenly flashed across my mind. Otherwise, he'll burn us and scatter the ashes. From that day on I kept my promise, and pulled myself as far away from Diego as possible. I no longer sent him funny memes or random little things I used to share all the time. I stopped caring whether he was flirting with someone or getting cozy with someone else. And I stopped showing up in front of him for no reason. Even mutual friends' gatherings, if he was there I wasn't. During that time Diego's mom noticed the distance too. She messaged me a few times. But after a while she understood. Eventually, she sighed and sent one final message. I guess we just weren't meant to be mother-in-law and daughter-in-law after all. A little over a month later, on Christmas Day, Dominic dropped by my pottery studio. He stood there, watching me calmly instruct a group of students shaping clay. He raised an eyebrow and gave a small, amused smile. So, Katerina, you're serious this time? You're really done with that self-destructive bastard? I clicked my tongue and shot him a look. It's Christmas, and you're not at home with your wife. Why are you hanging around my place? Aren't you afraid she'll run off again after all that effort you put into winning her back? Dominic's smile instantly disappeared. He picked up a lump of clay and tossed it lightly at my apron. I came here to check on you. And you're out here stabbing me in the heart. With a dramatic sigh. He brushed his hands off and got up from his seat. Then he placed a soft pink envelope on the table. It was a handwritten invitation, the kind you could tell was lovingly penned in delicate brushstrokes. Definitely the work of his calligraphy-obsessed wife. It's our 3rd wedding anniversary. Diego will definitely be there. You can come if you want. I'll understand if you don't. He picked up the bouquet of roses he'd left on the side and nodded toward me, ready to go. But as he reached the door, he paused and turned back to look at me. Katerina, Diego, he still cares about you. He's been acting all carefree, one rebound after another, but I've seen him, staring at his phone, waiting for your texts. I'm not saying this to defend him. I just don't want all your years of loyalty and effort to finally be paying off. Only for you to miss it now. So yeah, take that however you want. Whatever you choose, I've got your back. If you want a fresh start, I'll introduce you to someone new right now. Dingling. The shop door swung open from the outside. The chime rang crisply as a gust of snowy wind swept in. Lazaro stepped through the doorway, dressed in a black down jacket. Snowflakes scattered across his shoulders. Excuse me. His voice was calm and cool as always. Dominic blinked, momentarily stunned by Lazaro's ridiculously handsome face. Snapping out of it, he quickly moved aside with an apology. But just before leaving, he turned to look at Lazaro one more time, a hint of curiosity flickering in his eyes, as if trying to remember where he'd seen him before. Is it snowing? I glanced out the window, smiling. Snow on Christmas. How poetic. Yeah. Lazaro nodded without elaborating. While the students were all crowding by the window to watch the snowfall, he walked over to me, and without a word, leaned down and gave me a quick kiss. His lips were cold, ice cold. But the surprise in my eyes was instant and wide. I lightly punched his chest in mock annoyance, my eyes narrowing in warning. The last goodbye. I didn't go to see Diego. I watched the sunrise from the beach, Lazaro's arms wrapped tightly around me, and I let the past drift away with the tide. The boy who once swore he'd marry me at 16 was gone. And the man who tried to chase me back too late. Well, he wasn't mine anymore. I had made my choice, and I never looked back. The next time I heard about Diego was through a short message from Dominic. He left the country, said he needed time to reset. He asked if you were happy. I smiled, typed back. Tell him yes. 'Cause I was. Truly. Lazaro and I got married 6 months later. Quietly, just the way I liked it. No press, no drama, no ghosts from the past showing up uninvited. Just 2 people who chose each other, not out of habit or obligation but because we wanted to. And every morning since, I wake up beside a man who fights for me, not against me. Who laughs with me, not at me. Who holds me like he means it. It took losing everything to find someone who finally saw me. Sometimes, I wonder what would have happened if Diego had answered that call differently. If he had come for me sooner. If he had believed me when I begged him to save me. Would things have changed? Maybe. But I don't dwell on it. Because regret is a prison, and I'm finally free. A year after our wedding, I got a postcard in the mail. No return address. Just a single sentence written in Diego's handwriting. I hope you found the life you deserved. I read it once, then set it on fire, watched it burn into ash, and walked away without looking back.